With its announcement, the impending live-action Snow White film has been in the news, and with the trailer's release, things have only gotten more problematic because fans appear to detest it and Rachel Zegler isn't pleased with it. Fans of the original animated classic have not been shy about voicing their displeasure with some of the creative choices Disney has been making this whole time, with the most backfires controversial aspect being the casting of Rachel Zegler. The movie has had to go through many revisions to end up where it is today, but despite the constant delays, fans are still extremely displeased with what seems to be the final result. Originally scheduled for a 2024 release, the movie was pushed back to 2025 due to reshoot and the SAG-AFTRA strike. These delays have only deepened concerns about the film's quality, as reshoots often mean that the production is having a hard time seeing the final vision, which has become extremely apparent now. The newly released trailer for the movie has only heated fans up more, which has been quite shocking to see. Usually trailers help fans see the true vision behind what has been advertised of a movie, and most often seem to calm some of the fears that fans have. With the production, however, it looks like there is no saving this one, as fans have only gotten more upset. The reaction to the trailer, and even Rachel's role in it, has shown that Disney is in extremely hot waters, and it would truly take a miracle to save this one. Stay tuned to hear exactly why fans are more upset than ever before, and why Rachel's reaction to the backlash has only made things worse for Disney. While Disney definitely expected some backlash since they decided to change the iconic character, it doesn't look like they were prepared for quite the Disney's legacy amount of displeased fans we've seen ever since the announcement. For many longtime Disney fans, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs isn't just any movie, it's a milestone, which could be argued is what built the Disney brand as we know it today. Released in 1937, it was the very first feature-length animated film produced by Disney and laid the foundation for every other Disney classic that followed since. Walt Disney himself took a huge risk in making it. It paid off handsomely, making the studio a major force in Hollywood and placing Snow White at the forefront of children's fairy tale films. Naturally, any significant changes from the original film were sure to elicit strong reactions, and fans are not happy with the studio's apparent decision to ignore their complaints that they are missing the original film's sparkle. Many fans were not delighted to see Rachel Zegler cast as Snow White due to her appearance, but it's her off-screen comments that have really made things more difficult for doubtful fans. Rachel Zegler has also been at the center of a lot of the controversy surrounding the new remake. According to Rachel Backlash, the original Snow White was outdated and had several serious problems with the way the heroine and her plot were presented in the film. She was particularly turned off by her relationship with the prince, which is why she believed that something needed to change.
Not going to be safe with the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true.
Fans of the original film were offended by her comments, which many saw as dismissive of the film's legacy. They accused her of undermining Walt Disney's original vision and criticized the studio for letting this happen. But despite the backlash, Rachel continued to discuss how frightening the original Snow White was to her as a child and criticized Disney's historical portrayal of its princesses in another interview.
I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again.
Rachel may have wanted to make a statement about how movies have changed over time, but the fans took it personally, and many even demanded that she be completely replaced in the film. It appears that something worked, because when word spread that another actress would play a younger Snow White in the film, it was difficult for Disney to ignore the backlash. According to rumors, the main role has been heavily split between Rachel and the new child actress in the hopes that fans would be able to sympathize with the younger actress. However, this doesn't appear to have been heavily promoted by Disney, as Rachel is still at the forefront of the film, taking all the hits from irate fans. Another enormous, Disney's decision to reimagine the dwarves in the original Snow White movie has been a point of contention for the dwarves. Fans were understandably upset when it was announced that the dwarves would be replaced by magical creatures in the live-action version. The situation became even more complicated when Game of Thrones actor Peter Dinklage publicly criticized Disney for using dwarf characters in the first place, calling it a backward portrayal.
I was a little taken back by they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White,
yeah.
Seven Dwarfs.
Sure.
So, look, take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me.
But, so what,
you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the fuck are you doing, man?
Many fans were disappointed when the trailer showed the CGI creations, which many felt were awkward and completely disconnected from the charm of the original dwarves. They also took issue with the movie's overall appearance, as the decision to portray the characters as magical creatures rather than real-life tars didn't sit well with many fans who had hoped to see the beloved characters come to life with actual actors playing the roles. Using computer-generated imagery CGI seemed like a cheap fix that took away from the original film's charm and whimsy. When the first Snow White trailer was released, it was met with an avalanche of negative comments. In fact, the trailer quickly racked up over 1 million dislikes on YouTube, a rare feat even in today's highly critical internet culture. Many viewers felt that the film's very muted color palette and heavy visual effects looked extremely boring and desaturated compared to the original 1937 movie, and even other Snow White adaptations critics pointed out that Disney's live-action remakes tend to rely too much on CGI, often strip away the magic that made the original so special. Nothing about this shouts live-action green screen and Shrek-level CGI, but at least Peter Dinklage got his wish to pull the step stool up behind him and ensure that seven little people didn't get some of the most iconic roles in storytelling. I can't wait to see how much of a failure this is for Disney, as one of the most beautiful animated films turns into the most repulsive-looking Disney live-action. However, these films are so awful that the excitement that usually accompanies the release of a Disney trailer was absent, leaving viewers with the impression that the new version lacked the original's heart and charm. The CGI dwarfs were a major talking point, but even minor details, like Rachel Zegler's wig, became a talking point. I'm not sure what it is, but I detest the Snow White live-action wig. Everything else excites me, but when I see the wig, I think, oh, viewers found the wig extremely distracting. Some even went so far as to say it looked more like a Halloween store costume than something from a high-budget Disney production. In fact, the backlash for the trailer was so severe that it actually received a record number of dislikes on YouTube. Congratulations for achieving 1 million dislikes for the live-action Snow White trailer. Fans weren't surprised by this response, because many thought it was well-deserved, and that Disney would finally take notice. 1 million disapprovals. Disney, you've excelled yourself, Snow White. It appears that it will be worse than the Marvel's most recent film Office disaster. It's odd that this occurs when a brown activist named Snow White is cast without using actual dwarves. Go awaken, stay broke. That's what happens when you don't follow the narrative. Rachel initially thanked fans for their support for the trailer in a tweet, saying, "I love you all so much, thank you for the love, and for 120M views on our trailer in just 24 hours. What a whirlwind." However, as time showed, most people were incredibly upset seeing the trailer, and the backlash has only grown after the first day of its release. Despite the trailer having almost 10 million views on YouTube, the dislikes have only grown past the 1 million mark, showing what fans truly think of the movie. And it looks like Rachel is completely done acknowledging the criticism, as she has seemingly been chased off social media after the release of the trailer. Fans have been shocked to see her be so silent online, but many are speculating that the massive backlash has made it hard for her to exist in online spaces. However, as some people pointed out, Rachel is quite busy at the moment with her and Kit Connor's Romeo and Juliet play on Broadway, which might be one of the reasons why Snow White has taken a back seat for her. Do you guys think Rachel can salvage her reputation after the horrendous trailer reaction? Let me know down below. And don't forget to check out this other video for more.